Milena, it's awesome to be here today with you and share this time. Also great to have a Brazilian, right? A colleague
Two
from the
Brazilians.
country to talk about business, to talk about transformation, to talk about future digital, right? So for those who don't know me, my name is Ricardo. Like Sharon said, I'm VP of Sales and Partnership for Jellyfish in Brazil. Pretty honored, very honored to be here sharing this time with Milena. I had the chance also to meet her in advance last week. So we did a little chat and know ourselves to be prepared for today. Milena, thank you very much for your time. And I hope that we have a great conversation here.
Thank you, Ricardo. I'm sure we will. We had a wonderful conversation last Friday.
Yes, yes. So talking about readiness, right? This is the red light for today, to be always prepared for the next mission. With digital, we never know actually when and how the next cycle of transformation is gonna happen, right? Not only in person, but also in professional life and in the organization. Always be prepared and ready. And I think that I have a lot to learn with you because notice that you have a 20-year journey with 3M. And we don't see this very often today, people with so many years inside a company. So during this time, I'm pretty sure that you followed several changes while you're gaining experience to deal with your position requirements today. Can you tell us a little bit about this fantastic journey and how this was important for you, for your professional growth and the role that you are today in 3M?
Sure, Ricardo. Happy to. And exactly what you said. When I actually started at 3M, I didn't envision myself staying within the same company for 20 years. But 3M is so diversified. I was blessed with such a diverse career that there was never a reason for me to look elsewhere. I really love this company and I love the opportunities that I had. I actually, as you said, I'm Brazilian as well, and I actually started my working career back in Brazil with 3M Brazil as a marketing intern. And I would say over the last 20 years has been really fascinating because 3M it's really unlikely any other company. 3M really provides a diversity of opportunities in terms of, types of business roles and even geographies that you can work from. And I was, very fortunate to be, both in local area and global roles. And I had base, of course, starting in Brazil, as I mentioned, but I also had base for those roles in the United States, in Belgium, and Chile. And, not only kind of the diversity of the businesses, but the scope of my roles, but just a variety of roles, from, product segment marketing to Six Sigma, strategy and mergers acquisitions, marketing operations. And my last role was really a general management role. I was, the president/managing director for 3M, Chile, Argentina, and Uruguay, which gave me a wonderful broad, view of all 3M businesses and functions and general management experience. So I would say, this truly helped me to gain valuable experiences, both on the international knowledge, but broad view of 3M businesses and functions. And most importantly, really to learn about all the cultures, different ways of doing businesses, and the chance to interact with a very diverse set of employees and customers around the globe.
Great. Pretty sure that this was important because, as you mentioned, culture is something that we really need to take as important inside global companies, especially. So this is experience that you have probably helped you, right, to learn a little bit more about each country, and pretty sure that you use that today on your day by day work. And also, a few people knows actually, but we made fun of that in our conversation. But 3M is much more than a post-it company, right? Many knows 3M as on the post-its that we have and we use on our day-by-day, especially on marketing. But it's much more broader business. It's almost on our daily lives, more than we can imagine, actually. So can you tell us more about the company? Can you tell me more about the business lines that you have, and especially from transportation and electronic business that you lead?
Yeah, certainly. So 3M is a very diversified company. And, we are organized in 4 large business groups. So we have, the consumer business groups, which, hopefully you have, Post-its, with you, but you also have, some sponges and things that you know from 3M. And then we also have the healthcare business groups, which provide, products, solutions to dentists, to hospitals, and so on. We have the industrial and transportation business group that would provide from, tapes to adhesives to personal protection equipment. And finally, the business group that I'm leading from a marketing point of view, that is the transportation electronics business group. And the transportation electronics business group is really a group that is focused on, advanced technology industries, as well as, the top, global companies around the world. I would say probably the biggest, brands are, we are interacting with those brands, and we offer solutions from, electronics, which would be display films, or, material solutions, to solutions into automotive and aerospace markets, as well as commercial cleaning solutions and traffic safety. So it's very diversified. But I'll say what is interesting about 3M is that you're probably not more than 10 meters or 10 feet away from a 3M solution. So when you look at your cell phone today, there's adhesives that is gluing and bonding the parts together is 3M. The same with your computer. Again, hopefully in your desk, you may have some glue or things bonded there, but you have Post-its. So 3M, we're pretty much everywhere, but you can get at least a little glimpse of who you are and what we do. And we are really a company that we bring, we use our science, and we apply our science to life to really help our customers, continue to advance and innovate.
Great. Yeah, the Post-it especially we use this a lot. We have not only on our computers, but also on our walls.
Thank you for that.
Day by day, yeah. Now let's go into transformation, right? So every challenges that your role is facing, and in the pandemic especially. So pandemic brought unprecedented social and commercial changes in 2020 for every aspect of the business, especially in marketing and the communication. Clearly also exposing features and, of course, organization features, sorry. And of course, we expect this change to continue, if not to accelerate on our day by day. Can you share some of the main challenges that you faced or are still facing? I'm pretty sure that probably you're still facing some challenge. And what groups did you lead? What challenge did you encounter? How did you approach brand building virtually during the pandemic? So can you share about this experience from the past 1 year when all of this started in our lives?
Sure. And there were so many changes last year, for 3M and even for me personally. I just actually came back from Chile back to United States, and I truly moved in January when I started of 2020, when I started this new role as CMO. And at the same time, 3M was embracing we still are embracing a major, business transformation. So we really had reorganized, how we would, go to markets, how, the functions and groups are, aligned internally. And, we started the process officially beginning of last year, but the full launch of the entire organization was in April, right after the pandemic. So you just imagine, that I was, putting my team together and launching a brand new organization, and we had to do everything virtually, right? So not only, learning how to deal with the pandemic, but learning and get to know each other and how to work together as a group and cross-functional and, across the corporation, all virtually. So that was pretty challenging. And I would say we had, of course, several initiatives that we had to work on to make sure that we would pivot our marketing plans to really reflect the new reality, correct? So there was a lot of work on making sure that we would engage with customers with purpose and value, especially in the first phases when everybody was, being impacted without knowing what was happening, right? So it was really challenging times. So for us, it was important to accelerate, our brand reputation, and we knew that there were many trends happening, such as social authenticity and digital dominance. So how we could leverage that, but how we could put focus on putting our customer first and really help them out through the pandemics, because we had many solutions and things that we could do to support them during those challenging times. So one of the things that we did, a COVID scenario planning with our business teams to truly understand, what was happening and which actions we had to do. All the marketing plans that we had developed the previous year, we really had to pivot to those plans quickly because they were not necessarily meaningful anymore, correct? Some product launches that were planned, we had to cancel because it didn't make sense at the time. The other thing that we had to do is really accelerate the education of our marketing organization and sales organization on the impact of the pandemic and how they would drive value and how they would have to interact with customers with those shifts. So in the end, we adapted how we were working. We did a lot of training and we adapted many programs that were quite important for our customers at the time. One example is we have a commercial solutions divisions, and of course, disinfecting was something key that's still very key. So, we launched a back to business program that was really helping, our customers with, cleaning and disinfecting protocols, but as well as, with signage, indication as we need to have that, space and a clear social distance guidance. And that was very effective for us to help our customers. We also had a very successful program around, cleaning and protect certification programs. So as now we have, for example, target field or, large sports stadiums coming back to business, we can be that organization that can help them certify that they have the proper cleaning protocols, as well, again, the safety distance protocols in place to help, people like us going back to enjoying, whatever is considered now a normal life, but safely. So many changes, many things that happen, and I think we learned a lot throughout of last year.
Yeah, I can imagine. Also because mainly the business of 3M is B2B, right? So I'm sure you face it. You told me actually that marketing team works pretty integrated and close to the commercial team. How do you guys handle that change in order of view to view selling, right? Point, and then suddenly becoming 100% digital? How do you integrate these both parts? So how marketing actually helps sales and sales helps marketing in this view?
Sure. I would say one of the things that we're doing at 3M with this transformation is truly elevating the marketing organization. So we can not only demonstrate, but truly bring, growth and value for the corporation, correct? So as part of that, it's educating the marketing organization and how to really drive effective marketing, correct? It's clarifying, roles and responsibilities, and we are doing that a lot, what are the specialized roles, what are the global versus area roles. So as an example, as part of this model, we do have global roles and we try to act in a global mindset because our customers are globally based. But at the same time, we're really trying to make sure that we understand the area and the specific country needs. Because as you know quite well, Ricardo, what might work here, for a campaign, probably is not going to work in China, correct? In China, we're going to need WeChat specific platforms and technologies that are not applicable elsewhere. So really driving that mindset was quite important for the organization. But another thing that is key for us, and you mentioned, is that integration with sales, because we are a B2B organization and the sales organization have a vital role and they're kind of that last mile to the customer. So, if you're doing, very strategic and planful marketing programs, but if you're not communicating with our organization of our channel partners, we're not going to be successful. So I would say one thing that it might be slightly different in my role from other CMOs is that I have marketing, but I also have the sales effectiveness component. So I'm really looking to that whole, end to end and the whole, SMP or sales and marketing partnership. And I think that makes a difference, and we are advancing, but still have lots of learning to do.
Yeah, I completely agree. This is just very interesting because most companies that I talk to is exactly that the main integration point about marketing and sales that faces a lot of problem daily, right? So how actually marketing is helping sales and how sales is helping marketing is even more integrated and also operated in one way, right? So this is pretty interesting. And I know that 3M it's very innovative. I mean, everything that you do cooperating a lot with your clients, big brands around the world. But how do you translate these needs from the clients in agile way so you can deliver, and going more to a communication side, so you can deliver content, so you can deliver campaigns, so you can deliver media for each region, right? Because you have a global role. So how do you manage to cope? How does your team cope on that way? You bring a example of China and WeChat that you need to think especially for that channel. But how do you handle that in a global scale?
Sure. So first of all, we really try to create a customer centricity, correct? So putting the customer at the center or the core of everything that we do. So now, as we move to that more of a global business-led model, we cannot afford to say that we have a global plan that is really, just gaining size from the U.S. market, as an example, right? So as we talked about global programs, we try to bring the voice of the different roles that we have, maybe at the area level or country level, to understand what's happening, what are the needs. We do try to invest and do more on insights. And as we try to do insights, we really try to do a global base, correct? So if we're trying to do global, we need to understand, some needs that we may have in Latin America, or we may have, in Asia and so on. And the way that we are organized now, as I mentioned previously, we have, teams that have global responsibility, area, and local. So as we develop, marketing plans, global plans, we developed all together. But then we prioritize, what should be implemented in each area. And that's where the area comes in, and they play a big, big role to localize those plans, correct? And localization can be, quote unquote, as simple as a translation, but in some cases, they may have to adjust to their market needs, right? And then at country level is where we do the activation. And that's going to change a lot, correct? We can have a global plan, but maybe, the social media or, the digital ads that we're going to do is going to vary, correct? The vehicles that we're going to use around the globe to really hit those, customers. So as an example, we have design engineers as a target audience for us. And design engineers in general, the challenge that they have are the same, right? But a design engineer here in US, they may go to, spec-in website, or they go maybe to the NASA websites to get inspiration. Versus in other parts of the globe, they go to totally different sources of information, right? So it's really important for us to connect those dots and to truly get those global insights. So we're really trying to adapt to a local approach, correct? It's a global model, but you need to adjust to the local reality. And I would say China is the best example, right? We have an area team there that is specialized on that market, and they really localize the programs to fit the needs of that market.
It's like, think global, be local, right?
Exactly.
It's exactly that. Knowing, understanding the nuance of cultural, local needs, and answer that quickly, right?
Yes.
Another thing that I think it's interesting for us to discuss and to go on is that old thought of marketing being not as an investment inside a company, but as a cost line on their budgets most of their time, right? But I really feel that this is starting to change. The importance that marketing is having inside companies has been so innovative, has been the central of transformation and knowledge about customer, about their business, is really changing this game. How do you see that in 3M? Like, is 3M actually mature enough to see marketing as so strategic, or it still sees as a cost line, like we say in Brazil?
I would say we are on a journey, correct? So we are maturing. I would say that the last year we made great strides. As I said, we kind of, created this new, revisit organization where, 4 CMOs were appointed to really lead marketing efforts from each of those 4 large business groups that I mentioned to you. Within that, also we created, what we call marketing centers, very specialized resources at the center of each of those business groups, both at global and area level, again, to help with that global to local approach. So all that is demonstrating that, 3M is getting a better understanding of the value of marketing, correct? Because 3M, it's a very R&D centric company and very sales focused. But now we are seeing that shift. So as part of the transformation is also, my job and my peers' job to really educate the leadership on the value of marketing. So we have been doing that a lot. And there's a lot of discussion that we are demonstrating. Hey, the sales, of course, is that ultimate metric that we want to see, correct? Sales growth. Mm-hmm. But there's other metrics, demand gen metrics, throughout the funnel that is demonstrating that we are attracting new customers, that we're retaining customers, and then we're moving, correct, customers from hopefully being just, prospects to acquiring leads all the way to generating revenue. So let's say we are not yet there, but, we made, again, great advancements throughout of, the last year. And I think that, people are truly starting getting, I just, I had a very exciting discussion with many leaders last week, and you could see that they were seeing the value, they were seeing the connection points, they were excited to see the marketing programs and the advancements that were made in many things that were not yet the sales results, correct, that they're used to, that financial P&L, but they were starting to getting understanding those components that were critical for us to drive on that customer experience, correct? That ultimately will lead to growth and value. So I'm excited, very excited with the transformation that we're embracing at 3M.
I can imagine how challenging it is for you in a corporation like 3M to bring this kind of thought, but also as you brought here today, all the measurements that you guys are doing inside 3M and how you're handling customer data in order to bring back something and turn that into insights and actually sales insights. I think is also a journey. It's not on night by day. It really needs some time for everyone to understand and to really use it on the day by day, right? So it's pretty interesting. It's amazing to hear some of the works that you are doing, facing. And talking about transformation, digital transformation, everyone is talking about that. Mm-hmm. In Jellyfish, we mainly look to 4 pillars when it comes to digital transformation. We talk about people, so the capabilities, and if you have the right people on the right place in order to deliver what you want. Data, of course, because without data, you can't actually do nothing these days. Technology, so you can have scale, right? So you can deliver. Mm-hmm. And creativity. So how can you manage all of this together in a creative way to deliver success, to deliver results? What does that resonate for you, these 4 pillars? How do you see them on your day by day, or how do you see in the 3M Corporation marketing?
Yeah, I would say that the 4 of them resonates a lot, correct? And we might describe them slightly different, but ultimately it's looking into the same, correct? The people portion, the data and technology, the way that we look at 3M, Ricardo, when we think about our kind of, digital strategic framework, in the end, digital is an enabler for us to transform and advance our business, correct? And to help us, continue to be competitive in the marketplace. But when we look at digital, we look at 4 major outcomes. One, it's, what we call the digital customer. Think about, all the digital customer intimacy and seamless customer experience that we have to offer. So it's all the end-to-end approach, practice, how we integrate insights, how we drive marketing, sales, channels, service, experience, right? And it's really looking into how we, work on that experience, not only to drive growth and loyalty, but also to reduce costs to serve our customers. The other points that we look a lot is digital product, right? So what are the, digital business models that we can add into existing products or service? Are there digital components or even digital products that we can add to help, 3M to continue to be innovative and add value to our customers? Another one is around digital operations. So 3M, it's a 30, billion plus, corporation around the globe, correct? With, many employees, many products. So operations is a big component. So how we can make sure that we have digital processes and data and expertise, in place, again, to aim on, improve effectiveness on how we serve our customers, but also aiming to be more efficient in how we serve our customers. And then the last point there would be digital enterprise. So, think about that everything that we have from, finance, legal, and HR, how we can make sure that those corporate functions, have, cross-process efficiency throughout, so they can support the other points on the digital customer and the digital product goals that we have. And then you said another important point, that is the data. Of course, data and analytics kind of, it's a key component that cuts across all those elements. And I would say that's one area that we are advancing a lot. There's a lot of data available nowadays, correct? But how we leverage those data and how do we connect to all the data points to start having more of a 360 data view of our customers, it's really key, and it's important for us to advance in that space. And on the people portion that you mentioned, for us is what we call kind of, the digital culture, right? How can we make sure that, we're going to move from that more traditional kind of, I'm going to call analog mindset to this, digital transformation space that we live in. So we need to evolve our people. We need to evolve our culture, making sure that we're really building digital communities and, that we are embracing that agility, correct, as you said, because things are so dynamic and it's changing so fast that, we need to adapt in how we go to market, how we evolve, how we deploy things, and so on. And prioritization, I would say that is the last piece that we look quite a bit, because of course we can't do everything, right? And we need to prioritize what things we may do organically or inorganically, and maybe what things that we should stop doing, correct? Because we are evolving as an organization and customers have, more demanding expectations.
Yeah, it's not about data, especially it's not about the quantity of the data, right? Because we have a lot, is the right data. It's
exactly
actually what you want with that, so you can structure yourself to answer that, right? So
yeah. And what insights we distill and how we take action, correct, out of the data, because it's not any good if the data is there but we are not doing anything with that. So.
Completely agree. So okay, we are seeing that, but what actionable actions we are gonna make, right? We're gonna put I'm gonna bring to the operation. We're gonna bring to our day by day, and this is gonna work. It's not gonna work. So it's test and learning, almost always on test and learning on all initiatives when in regard to digital, when in regard to data, when in regard to analyzing all that. So pretty interesting. Thank you.
Maybe Ricardo, just a quick comment on that one. That's something also that is key for us in marketing, correct? And I would say, because sometimes it's so hard to get to those metrics and measurements, a lot of times people are avoiding data or they're not comfortable in really getting to that. So that's something else that, we want to make sure that marketers would focus on having, clear metrics, but leveraging data, correct, to understand what's happening and to adjust where is needed. So that's something that is big and is top of mind as well.
Great, yeah, because changed a lot. Marketing few years ago, if you can say few years ago, we were just looking about creation, right? And then suddenly we have engineers, data science, and so on our day by day, and we need to understand and manage that. So it's pretty challenging for everyone in this process, and the cycle is never going to change. It's just going to get worse or interesting. It depends on your view, right? We have maybe 10 minutes. I'm gonna make a last question, and then we have like 3 or 4 questions in the Q&A here. So last one for the audience. What advice or best practice would you like to share with the audience, looking back on your experience and everything that you've been through until today in your role?
I would say first start with the customer, correct? The reason why I'm here, the reason why we're here is because we have customers. So I would say put the customer at the center of everything that you do, listen and observe your customers, put yourself in the shoes of the customer, correct? Then I would say for me at 3M has been incredibly important to elevate or to build those modern, marketing and sales capabilities. And I would say the pandemic has just exponentially increased that need, because now we have the democratization of digital, correct? We have the democratization of virtual work and virtual interactions. So if we don't have now the proper capabilities to engage with our customers in that new reality, we're not going to survive, correct? The other thing is just, making sure that you have a clear vision with, clear strategic priorities, and that you build that vision with your team. So there's passion, there's energy around that vision, and hopefully clarity about what it is, and what is everybody's role, in making that vision a reality. We talked about data, Ricardo. So leverage data and insights for strategic decision making. Again, there's lots of data out there, right? So prioritize what data is key and how do you use that to continue to learn, adjust, and pivot your plans to be more effective. And then maybe the last three, we live in this, global economy, correct? So communicate often, make sure that, you have a diverse and global mindset, but listen to, the areas and to the local teams, correct? Because ultimately, there's a lot of similarities when we look at customer segments around the globe, but there's also local nuances that are very, very important, and we cannot undermine those, because otherwise we're not going to be effective in how we engage with those customers at the local level. So.
Yeah, I completely agree with the last one, especially in Latin, right? Argentina is completely different than Uruguay, then Brazil is completely different to the other countries. We discussed that, and what is really pretty curious is that this actually is a problem. It's not a problem. It's something that we have to face everywhere, as I'm seeing. Yeah. Well, some questions here coming from the Q&A. So the first one, there's no name, but given the rapid speed of culture today, yeah, we discussed that. How do you think about maintaining relevance and structuring for agility? Agile content creation. I think we went through that. I don't know if you want to complement more.
So maybe there on the agility is that, correct? Is having that global mindset and global approach, and even learning from areas, correct? What has been created for China is not only China for China. You can repurpose some type of that content, and just continue to deliver on that target audience.
In what ways has COVID impacted your marketing strategy and transformation plans? I think you already said that you needed to change everything, right?
Pretty much.
and probably in the day by day it's changing a lot. Planning becomes always on planning. Yeah, it's not something that is gonna be from like 12 months in a row.
Yeah. Ricardo, I can tell you that I'm looking forward to eventually getting back to the office and actually meet some of my colleagues and my team, because we haven't met many of them in person yet.
I can imagine. Imagine. Has the crisis forced modifications to short-mind long-term goals, and how you measure success based on changes in customer behavior? I think you already went to that. Sorry. I think we are discussing the questions keep coming up. I'm just reading right now. How do we continue to focus on the silver linings in this past year? How do we continue to build on the momentum we started? How do we continue to put the customers and our employees at the center of everything we do?
And Ricardo, maybe on that one, I would say that I think that for us, at least at 3M, especially on the B2B side, maybe we're a little bit more traditional. So the pandemic has been really hard on everyone, but, trying to look at the glass half full, the pandemic has been somewhat good for us, marketing in the B2B space, because maybe, some leaders or folks that had a little bit of, were hesitant, to do some things because they were looking into more the traditional face-to-face approach. They learned that actually, digital works, and, the same wonderful experience that we can have in our sales organization visiting customers or our application engineers, we can replicate that very effective in a virtual way. So I would say by all means, we cannot lose that momentum. So I would say that for us is key as we are building our plans for future years, really to distill all those learnings and, to see what worked to really develop even more robust plans of how we're going to accelerate now in the future years. And I would say, the traditional offline is not gone, correct? Some of that's going to come back to the marketplace, correct? But how do we do the right mesh of, traditional and digital to engage with customers and deliver our solutions.
Yeah, how can you use digital to empower actually what
Exactly.
we're doing, right? So
Yeah.
how actually to help? Sometimes people think that we lost creativity with technology. I'm pretty sure it's the opposite. Actually, we can become more creative, right? Because we have a lot of new things that we can do, a lot of new ways of working. So I see on the other way, like you said.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say that marketing maybe is moving a little bit from being more of an art to be an art and a science now, right?
Yes.
So how we can capitalize on that science to be even more targeted to our customers. And for us on the B2B space, I think the other learn is that, let's just stop calling that B2B, correct? It's age to age, it's human to human. Because in the end, us, as, consumers, as engineers, as buyers, we want to have the same experience that we have, with Amazon likes, correct? So we need to evolve on how we think about that industrial, B2B customers, because those customers have evolved as well in their expectations and how they want to interact with suppliers.
Great. So I see we have Sharon here.
Hey, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
What a great conversation. I love that, Milena. You're never more than 10 feet away from a 3M product. And you are absolutely correct. Because I'm getting some 3M window coverings installed. And I over the box. And sure enough, 3M. So
thank you, Sharon, for that.
Never more than 10 feet away. But that's awesome. Once again, another great thread. Putting that customer first, but the idea of human-to-human marketing. We've all fallen into the B2B, B2C, now B2B, B2C, but the idea is that it is human-to-human. And I do think that is a silver lining coming out of the pandemic, that we're starting to have more human-centric marketing approaches that I think are landing much better, because I think there's a need for more understanding, turning that data and insights into retention, and being able to pull it together. So thank you.
Great.
I love it. We had something global. So we not only did we think global, we actually did it. So thank you both, Milena and Ricardo. That was an incredible conversation. Really enjoyed it. Continued success.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Ricardo, very much.
Thank you, Milena.
All righty, we're going to go on to our last panel of the day. Hopefully you've been tracking with us. We've had some of the most incredible marketers from some of the most iconic brands, Walmart, TD Bank, 3M. Now I'm excited to have our next set of guests. We've got Chris from Koya, and we've got my very own wonderful colleague from the West Coast, James Borner from Jellyfish. And we're going to hear all about Koya and these incredible beverages, which I did go out and try this weekend.